So, namaste and welcome to Satsang today. So, as I said, welcome and glad that you could join us here in this Satsang. And if you're new to these teachings, then again, you're very welcome. It's a direct kind of path. It's a simple kind of teaching. I always try to keep it as simple as possible because it's the only thing that worked for me. It had to be simple and easy to follow and practice because my mind, I suppose, like everyone's wanted to make everything complicated. So what we're practicing here is about as direct as it gets. And if you're ready for that, you're ready for that. Um, for me, it was a breath of fresh air, just to be able to point attention to what is real and to stop focusing so much on what is unreal, the sense of a separate person that's suffering and that's desperately trying to get to some kind of place of peace. And I want to spend this time. I won't talk too long because I'll give time for some questions, but I want to just point to something that was not obvious for me at first along my journey. And if I could have had someone tell me this sooner, I probably still wouldn't have listened, but maybe, who knows, it might have helped. Um, and that is that peace, the peace that we're looking for from the recognition of who we really are, is always available. Now, that might seem like a bold statement if we're feeling some very strong negative emotion, or we're feeling our body feels unwell, or there's a whole lot of thoughts going on in our mind. It may seem a huge claim to say that peace is always available. And I want to really look at how and why peace is always available because these days I'm feeling a whole lot more than just peace. But when I was really in a very dark place in my awakening, or most of my seeking journey, what I thought I was, and when I thought I was seeking, it wasn't a positive experience, as I'm sure you have felt yourself. And I would have given anything just for relief or peace. And of course, we all want bliss and, the sense of feeling a deep love and intimacy with what is, joy and wonder and awe and all of those things that come later as we deepen. But the thing that I really just wanted was peace, the absence of suffering. So that's what I want to really look at. Just take a few minutes to look at it. How do we always find peace no matter what is going on in our lives, no matter what is going on in our body, no matter what's happening in our finances, in our awakening, in our relationships, in our career? For me, there was a fundamental shift in how I think, how I thought at the time that was really pivotal. It's what I really want to share with you. And my mind automatically would think that it was, let's take an example of a negative emotion and see if we can look at how this kind of thought process can change. So if there was a lot of fear, shame, anger, despair, all kinds of emotions that I used to feel. And the prevailing thought process was that I had to get rid of that emotion before I could feel peace. And that seemed to make sense because there'd be this strong emotion for a while, and finally, when it left, finally, which it didn't leave for very long, fear, shame, and guilt, unworthiness, despair, anger, you name it. And they were best friends for a while, unwanted friends, but um, there would be some sense of relief and a slight sense of peace after these emotions had disappeared. So it reinforced this idea that it was peace or something else, peace or fear, shame or um, peace. And that really was the issue in itself. So peace is the result when we're not fighting with what is, when we're not dividing ourselves into the sense of a separate someone and something else. So, simply said, if I'm trying to get rid of anything or trying to get something, there'll always be a sense of separation in that because there's a me, a separate sense of someone who's trying to push something away and or who's trying to grab a hold of something. I want peace and I want to get rid of this fear. And all this motion of pushing and pulling is really what our separate sense of self or our egoic sense of self, whatever you want to call it, our person that we think we are. That's what it's made up of, all the ways that we push or pull. And it seems to make sense that if I push away fear, I'll be able to have peace. But actually, in this motion, there is separation. There's me and what I'm rejecting or what I'm grabbing a hold of. So it was quite an epiphany for me when I realized that this just would never work. I could never feel peace permanently, effortlessly. And I'm not just talking about relief, although that's nice, right? Relief. Like you've been carrying something really heavy and you're moving a sofa around and you finally put it down and it's like, oh, that's nice. Not momentary relief. I'm talking about effortless, profound, stable peace. Peace that is there all the time, no matter what's happening. So I could never really feel this peace while I was still dividing myself into two. So how do we change that then? How do we move away from this mechanism that actually has never worked? The more we push against fear, the worse and stronger fear gets. The more that we try to grab a hold of bliss or joy, the more it seems absent. Have you noticed? The more you push against anything, the more it seems to still be here. And you might have even heard that saying, what you resist persists. And of course, nobody likes fear or shame or whatever emotion it is, or physical pain or whatever's going on that we're trying to push away. We're just coming to see that pushing it away has never actually worked to make it leave for good. Just that simple fact. Pushing away what we don't like, resisting it, thinking about it, why is it here? Why won't it go away? Has never worked as a permanent way to feel peace and to have this thing gone. And similarly, grabbing a hold of a momentary sense of bliss or joy or a deep sense of love, contentment, whatever it is that we want more of, abundance, anything, grabbing a hold of it, that very act of trying to grab for something seemingly divides the indivisible one being that you are. And we feel the discord in the body. The body says this just does not feel good at all. When there's a me and I feel terrible. So, noticing first of all that these two things have not worked. They've worked, maybe given us a momentary respite, but it still comes back. So, the only way to have permanent, stable peace is to disengage from this push-pull mechanism. So, the fear arises in the body, and the urge is to push against it. Naturally, the mind rather, wants to push away what's going on in the body, whether that's an emotion or a physical issue, or even a financial issue, or something in your relationships, anything at all that you don't like or want. What happens if you're just able to observe and notice the urge? The fear arises and the urge to push, and you just observe and disengage. Because you're never going to enjoy fear or pain or whatever. But as soon as you don't push against it, there'll be peace because you're not dividing yourself from it. There'll be you and the way that you're showing up as fear, not you and a sense of as a person and fear. That's a very different thing. And then a momentary sense of relaxation and joy or bliss comes, and maybe in the depths of our meditation, of course, we feel that thing arise that wants to, I want more of this. Like, we try to grab it and hold it and keep it. And of course, we do this most of all with some kind of clear seeing. When you have a momentary glimpse of reality, the very next thing that happens is, how do I keep this? But the moment you try to interact with it at all, you are acting as a separate being. And there's you and this thing. And it's the sense of separation, a sense of a separate person, that disturbs the peace, not the actual fear, not the actual pain, not the actual shame, not the actual lack of money or argument going on in our relationship. It's a sense of separation. There's nothing outside of us. There's nothing in our lives that can um, disturb our peace. Peace is an inside job, and it always and only depends on what we're doing with what's coming up inside and outside in our physical world, inside in the world of thoughts and emotions, sensations, outside in our experiences. So we can actually just kind of practice noticing when something arises that we would normally push away. And if you still feel the urge to push it, just actually looking and seeing, has that ever actually made it better? When I really looked at that, it was astonishing. And I had to admit that it had never actually made it better. In fact, at this point, I was convinced it was making it worse because of the sense of a someone that was emphasized. I don't want this. I don't like it. And because we don't have to do like the happy dance every time some fear arises, I certainly didn't and couldn't. But I'm just not going to interact with it. I'm going to just let it be there the best I can. There'll be some fear, for example, and a dislike of that fear. And both of those can just be there. And when we're not interacting, we're not grabbing and pushing and pulling, there's peace. Peace is always available if we choose not to go into separation around it, whatever is arising. It was really astonishing for me that when I didn't grab at bliss, it didn't go away. And when I didn't grab at fear, it started to shift frequencies into mild anxiety, nervousness, and then discontentment. And then as I watched it even more, contentment and then peace. Who knew that peace could be hiding in fear or shame, apathy, despair, anger, irritation, and anything that we don't want to experience. This very simple thing. And I've spoken about it many times, but it's always worth because it's the fundamental of awakening this. Life is always showing us where we're still pushing or pulling. So the next thing that happens to you that you don't like, the next karmic pattern that arises, maybe it's happening now while I'm talking. Maybe you feel some seeking going on while I'm talking. And you're like, I need to understand what she's saying and I need to apply this. Can you just notice that deep urge, that deep sense of I need that kind of energy, and just let it be there. Like really let it be there. Finding freedom and living living in effortless peace is not really about eliminating all the negative things that we don't like and only having positive experiences. It's remaining as the undivided being, the indivisible being. There's only one being, and it's showing up as all of these bodies and all these emotions and all of these thoughts, all of these experiences. And when you push something away, in effect, you're saying, that's not me. And that is so false and foreign that there is something different to you, that it really hurts. You can feel it. Mine says it's the fear that makes me feel bad. But what if it's the sense of separation that we've artificially induced? There's me and this fear. Suddenly there's two things apparently. Not really, but apparently, and boy, does it feel real, right? Try to grab a hold of some joy, and suddenly there seems to be really two things, me and the joy that has just left and will not stay. This one simple thing, I began to apply it to everything, internal or external. It's all the same, really. It's all you. So not pushing against the person uh, who is disrespecting you doesn't mean you become a doormat and let everyone step all over you. It just means that you can form a response from the place of peace that's going to be profoundly effective, rather than a knee-jerk response that's coming from the sense of a separate self. So I just wanted to spend some time with this because it is the fundamental, the moment we stop pushing and pulling. And of course, sometimes it takes a little practice if we have a strong emotion or a strong sensation in the body. It might take us a few attempts to kind of not engage with it in the same way, to welcome it, but never to like it. You can also welcome the dislike of it. So it's something that we can all practice as we go forward. And as we do that, we'll begin to find that peace is our best friend and that peace becomes stronger. And it's a lived, effortless, stable peace. And most importantly, it's a peace that is undisturbable, cannot be interrupted. Even eventually, when the body goes, still there is peace. It's unshakable, unbreakable peace. Because peace is always the evidence of oneness, where I'm not separating myself into two, there'll be peace. Me and my thoughts, I wish they would go away. Well, that's just another thought, really, isn't it? We don't have to engage with that. We can just watch that. My mind is driving me crazy, says the mind, which is quite funny in itself sometimes when you think about it. But again, we'd have a tendency to grab that thought and say, yes, 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 that's true. My mind is driving me crazy. Can you just watch that thought come and go? If peace is available now, you might still have to look at these karmic patterns and these beliefs, all of that. But wouldn't you rather do that from effortless, stable, profound peace? Peace is the absence of separation. Suffering is the presence of imagined separation. You're never actually separate. And it's available now. It means that nothing in our life has to actually change before we can feel relief and feel peace. And that's very good news. It was a lifesaver for me, absolutely. In the worst moments of my awakening, still the peace was there. In the best moments too, of course. And still here now, deeply, deeply, more profoundly obvious every day, more peace every day. Why is peace present when you stop dividing yourself? Well, it costs so much life force energy to imagine that there's a you and something else, when you are the only thing that exists. In your formless aspect as awareness or whatever you want to call that, silence, stillness, presence. And also in all the ways you're showing up as form, as emotions, thoughts, trees, planets, people, cars, everything. And it takes so much life force energy to invest in this lie that there's you and something else. And it's the dip in life force that actually is suffering. The moment you stop the push-pull, the life force shoots back up. I've used this analogy before, but it's probably very, very helpful. If you imagine a big beach ball that you might play with in a swimming pool or something, and it's full of air, of course, and you try to push it down under the water, you've got to really, really push it down. You've got to hold it down under the water. And the moment you let go, it's going to fly up out of the water. All of us, our entire lives have been holding this thing down under the water. And we've been doing that for so long that we don't even realize how much it costs us in terms of energy. Finally, in a moment, we stop. And all this energy is liberated, which we feel as peace. And as we gain back more energy in the system from where we not are pushing away other things, we apply it to this and then to this and then to this. That sense of peace deepens then into, well, most people feel it first of all as deep contentment, peace, then a sense of love, deep love, joy, bliss, and then sometimes even a sense of ecstasy. They're just amounts of life force in the body. So I hope this is something simple and practical that you can begin to work with to provide some immediate relief. And it may just seem too simple, but if you're like me, and I'm sure you are, the complicated things never worked. And I needed something simple that I could apply in a spiritual emergency. You know, those moments where you just want to give up, you just want to walk away, you just want to, I'm not doing this awakening anymore. So, okay, so we'll open it up if there are any questions or anyone would like to share anything, any challenges that you're having around awakening. Feel free to raise your hand here on Zoom and we'll see what comes up. We also have, I'm sure you're aware, live Spanish translation if anyone would like to. Okay. Fernando?
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes, Helen, y buenas tardes a todos.
Hi,
Eh,
Helen. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Helen.
Could you say that again, Susan? Sorry, it's a little muffled. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Helen. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Quería comentaros algo que me ocurrió hace un par de semanas.
I wanted to comment on something that happened a few weeks ago.
Estuve en un festival de música de los años 80
I was in a music festival, music of the 80s,
donde, claro, los artistas estaban todos en sus 60, 70 años.
where, of course, the artists were all in their 70s, 80s.
Entonces, con la primera canción, de repente me subió una emoción muy fuerte
With the first song, I felt a very strong emotion.
y, y la mente me decía, eh, eso se está acabando.
And my mind said, this is ending.
Y esto se está acabando significaba la juventud se está acabando y la vida se está acabando.
And that phrase meant that youth was ending and life was ending.
Eh, en un primer momento comencé a llorar,
I
lo
started
cual
crying initially.
no me importaba porque estaba oscuro y la música estaba muy fuerte y nadie me estaba mirando.
I didn't mind because it was very dark and the music was very loud and nobody was looking at me.
Y, pero luego me di cuenta que realmente dentro de mí había una gran paz.
And then I noticed that inside me there was a great peace.
Por primera vez me estaba permitiendo el llorar sin culpabilidad, sin sentirme ridículo.
For the first time, I was allowing myself to cry without feeling guilty or ridiculous.
Y aunque seguí llorando, pero la historia que estaba comentando mi mente empezaba a dejar de tener tanta fuerza.
And even though I kept crying, the story that my mind was saying stopped having force, energy.
Lo que ocurrió a continuación es que terminé bailando y disfrutando del espectáculo.
What happened afterwards was that I began to dance and enjoy the show.
Pero me surge la pregunta
But I have a question about that.
y es, llegado el momento del final, digamos, de la muerte del cuerpo físico,
Once death arrives of the physical body,
a pesar de que he estado practicando durante toda mi vida el tratar de reconocer y permanecer en el ser,
even though during my whole life I've practiced being in the self and recognizing it.
me pregunto si será suficiente, si en ese momento no me abrumará otra
I
vez.
won- I wonder if it will be enough, if it won't overwhelm me.
That's a good question and something that's really worth checking out, isn't it? If it depends on who you think yourself to be, who you know yourself to be at the moment of physical death, as to what kind of experience we do have in that moment. And we come to a satsang or to our spiritual journey, and we start to recognize that we're not who we thought we were, that we're not the body, or that we are all of these bodies. And we start to have a sense that we are waking up out of a bad dream, maybe. Some sense that we're moving towards freedom and away from suffering. But if we, and we can do this together right now, you and I, we can check out who you really are, experience it together now. Let's just take a moment and see if you can recognize what you really are. What do you find when you look for yourself?
Últimamente no lo sé.
I'm not sure.
It's okay.
Veo que hay algo vivo, hay algo que es consciente,
I see
pero,
something that's alive, that's conscious, but
pero no puedo decir qué es.
I can't say what it is.
That's okay. You can kind of see it in a way, but you can't see it with your eyes. You know something is here that's conscious, that is well, is it a form or is it without form?
No es sin forma.
No form.
And let's keep our attention on that. Let's explore a little bit. That which is conscious, if it's not a form, does it need a human body for its existence? Is it relying upon that body for its existence? It's a big question to
Es muy
take it on.
difícil, pero
It's very
mm,
hard.
Yeah, yeah.
parece que sí.
It seems that yes.
Let's have a look. Let's go dig a little deeper if you want to, because I'd like to get to the bottom of this and really remove this fear that you have about the physical death and what might happen then. So that which is alive and conscious, the aliveness, let's just call it aliveness for now. Is it here before the body or is it coming from the body? Again, just taking a moment to explore this question. Is it here first or after the body?
No lo sé.
I don't know.
That's totally okay. As we experience this aliveness together, let's try a different question. Does this alive consciousness, does it need anything?
A sí misma.
It needs itself.
It needs itself. That's quite beautiful what you've said there. And can any form, any thought, any emotion, anything affect it?
No,
Wonderful. Is it changing? Is it moving and becoming and growing?
no, simplemente es consciente de todo el movimiento.
It's simply conscious of every movement.
Is it dependent upon anything? Does it rely upon anything?
No lo sé.
I don't know.
Wonderful. And if we just try and go a little deeper, let me just ask you, where is it, this aliveness, this consciousness? Can you point to it, say it's here, or it's here, or it's here? Does it have
Aparentemente va con mi cuerpo a donde voy.
Apparently, it moves with my body wherever it goes.
Is it moving though? Does it move?
No,
So is your body moving around inside it, maybe? It feels like wherever the body goes, consciousness or aliveness is there, moving with it. But when we actually stop and look, is it actually moving? Or is my body just moving around inside it?
Cuando la conciencia es consciente de sí misma, sí que
When
puede
conscious,
tener la sensación de que es el cuerpo el que se mueve dentro de ella.
when consciousness is conscious of itself, there's a sensation that it's moving inside the body. La conciencia se mueve dentro del cuerpo.
No, no. El cuerpo, cuando la conciencia se calma y es consciente de sí misma, sí que es capaz de observar cómo el cuerpo se mueve dentro de ella.
How the body moves in consciousness
Yeah,
when it calms itself.
yeah. And is consciousness any different when the body is here and when it's not here? Is consciousness changing?
Es que el cuerpo siempre está aquí.
The body is always here.
Okay,
No he tenido la experiencia de que el cuerpo no esté aquí.
I haven't had the experience of the body not being here.
but if you are consciousness and the body is moving around inside you, then are you here before the body or after? Can you exist as consciousness without a body? I know these are difficult questions, but you're doing so, so well. All we need to do together is just to explore what our mind thinks is really true. Our mind says, this consciousness needs a body in order to exist. And if if we can just explore that together, is that actually true? Can we be certain that consciousness needs a body? It's using a body right now, these two bodies, and Susan as well. But does it need those bodies? If it is formless,
Para,
go ahead.
para responder estas preguntas
To answer these questions,
tienes que estar viéndolo, tienes que
you have
estar
you have to be
siendo
seeing
consciente de
it.
la conciencia.
You have to be conscious of consciousness.
Si
Aren't you
no, si no es imposible.
If not, it's impossible.
aren't you conscious of consciousness right now? You're noticing consciousness is
Sí,
here. Yeah.
sí.
What is it about you that knows that consciousness is here? How do you know consciousness is here?
Hay una certeza de que es así.
There is a certainty that it is so.
But how? How do you know? Are you using your physical eyes to see it? Or your ears?
No,
Any of your senses? Can you pick it up? And does it smell of anything or taste?
no,
Wonderful. And is it your mind or any part of your body that's seeing consciousness? Can your mind know consciousness?
muchas veces quiere hacerlo, quiere
Many,
dar su última palabra,
many times it wants to have the last word,
Oh, yeah.
pero realmente no.
but really no.
Solo puede pensar.
It can only think.
So we can think about consciousness, but it can't actually directly know it's here. Yeah. So how do you know consciousness is here then? You told me something beautiful. There's an alive, conscious something, and you're very certain of that, you just said. And of course, I celebrate that. But what is it that can recognize consciousness? If it's not the body, and it's not the senses, and it's not the mind,
Es la propia conciencia,
It's consciousness itself.
la propia conciencia. Es consciente de sí misma.
It's conscious of itself.
yeah. So right now, you are conscious of the fact that you're consciousness. And as consciousness, do you need even a human body? Even when consciousness recognizes itself, like we're doing here, it's not using the body and mind at all to do that. If anything at all, the body and the mind provide a contrast. The body is moving and speaking and growing and changing. It helps us recognize consciousness, which isn't, by contrast, isn't changing, isn't moving. But if right now you're recognizing consciousness by consciousness, with consciousness, you haven't used anything in manifestation at all, anything in form to recognize yourself. So why should that be any different when the body's gone? If you don't need the body to recognize yourself as consciousness, does it matter whether the body's here or not here for consciousness to know itself? Now you're smiling. So this is something that we have to check again and again. And this question for me, how do I know consciousness is here, was so important because there was an automatic assumption that somehow I'm using my body or mind to recognize it. And then there was this fear that, uh, as you started with today, that it might not be enough. I might not have done enough. But as we see consciousness clearer and clearer, we recognize it's totally independent of the form of the body, totally actually appearing as the body, but not needing it. Certainly not needing it to recognize itself. Even now, today, in this conversation, we have proved that it's recognizing itself independent of anything in manifestation. That means the whole universe could disappear tomorrow. Of course, we like it, we want it to stay, but it doesn't need to be here in order to recognize what we are. All of this movement and change and growth and becomingness and undoingness is there just for contrast, so that you can recognize yourself to be consciousness. When I really got this, there was a tremendous relief. Of course, I'm going to keep looking and seeing and enjoying. But 50 years from now, it's not going to be any different than it is right now, that consciousness is recognizing itself. 50 more years of meditating and self-inquiry will only show me the exact same thing as we're seeing today here. There's just going to be a lot more fun and relaxation in the body after 50 years, but maybe now as well. Yeah. So taking this that you've seen, and maybe this question is really going to be important for you and anyone that it resonates with. How do I know consciousness is here? And proving that I'm not using my senses. I can't see it with my eyes. It has no sound, no taste, no color, no smell, no texture. And it's certainly not my mind. My mind likes to think about consciousness, but it can only think about things. It can never directly see. It's the consciousness itself that's recognizing itself. You keep proving that to yourself again and again, and you get this certainty that the sages have, right? That I love the body. I'm really glad it's here, but I'm not scared for when it goes because nothing's going to change for me as consciousness. You've done so well to go through these difficult questions with me. So I just want to say thank you for that. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well done.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Miguel?
Hello, Helen.
Hi.
So happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you too.
Um, well, I can say that I have been working on conscious imagining,
Mhm.
and it has been amazing. I think I had some resistance in the past because it took me a while to to do it, and it's really working. I don't know. It is. And meditation is going deeper and deeper. And one of the things that I'm imagining is I'm doing in the conscious imagining is that throughout the day, presence is felt in an obvious way
Yeah.
that I am, and is happening. So I'm very happy about that. But there is something that there is always a however, and and this is like with all respect, I don't understand anything that you are saying now. Yesterday, I was on the satsang yesterday and today, and I I don't know what's happening. I don't understand anything. Not in a good way. I mean, not in the way that okay, I don't understand anything. No, it's like I don't understand anything. It's like the hour. I don't know if it's a resistance that I'm getting distracted, but I'm not even distracted thinking about anything else. But I don't understand. I don't understand anything.
That's actually a very profound place to arrive in, isn't it? The mind the mind will have its opinions about the fact you don't understand anything, of course. But is your life better now you don't understand anything or worse?
It is. It is better. I don't mind not to understand, but it's more like in the satsang. I don't. It's like I feel I'm not fully present, or I'm not grasping things, or maybe there is an expectation to grasp more things, and it's not happening, or there is nothing to grasp, or it's just the mind expecting and just being relaxed here with no, just being relaxed and
So can you just show up for satsang? Just show up and not be as someone that's I need to figure this out and get what she says and then I'm gonna go to work with it after satsang and all of that stuff that we used to do. Um, it's a switch over, right? I'm just here. I'm just present to this. And anything that needs to be absorbed as I'm just here is going to go in. I don't have to effort for that. Later, I might find myself thinking about something that was said or, have some kind of epiphany that appears in the mind. But it's not coming from an efforting or a seeking or a striving, right? It's a different way.
Mm.
And life is showing us where we're still trying to go the old way. I should really pay attention in satsang, and it's the most important thing, and I want this awakening, and you know how it goes. But how many things do you think I understand?
Mm. No, but it's like it's a lack of respect for you that I'm not fully,
I
like
totally,
putting.
I totally disagree with that statement. If you want to respect me, just show up.
Yeah.
Just show up. Because I am you, you are me. And if someone more and more and more can just be here and just listen, that's it. Just listening. That's the most elevated state we'll ever, you know, that's awakening. And it's too simple for the mind, right? The mind says, but there should be some interaction, some grasping, some. But you said something as well that was really powerful. You said there's nothing to grasp. But here we are experiencing freedom, and the mind is saying, but this is really bad. This is a problem. I should I should be note taking or and of course the hand might do that. Or it might ask a question, say, hey, there's a problem. But still the presence is just the presence. You're
Yeah.
just here, right?
Yeah, I have to say I was embarrassed to ask this question,
Right.
but it's so clarifying now that you are answering, because now I really see there is a depth of peace, natural, which is what I'm asking also, a
Mm.
natural without effort, and the mind saying, but you are not listening. And now I can see that. Now I can see that the mind is saying that, but I can also see that what is in the ground is a layer of spontaneous peace.
Yeah, and if you and I are two separate beings and you've joined Satsang to listen to me speak and to get something from it, then you'd better pay attention, right? But if Satsang has got you to the place where you realize there's really no difference between me and you, we're the same being, then everything that's coming from this mouth is available in there, right? This is inside you. It's coming. This is coming from inside you, not outside. This is you speaking. As you see that more and more, it's just kind of it becomes more comical or even hilarious that, I think I need to because I'm showing up as a person who needs to really get this. And we really feel that all of our efforting has actually made us get it.
Don't
But
waste the opportunity to get it.
but the highest use of an opportunity like this is just
Mhm.
to be your natural self. That's success. But it doesn't mean that the mind is going to understand that. It's going to say, hey, you know, if we go to retreat together, the mind will say, you've got to make the most out of this time. Or if you go to satsang or a class and someone says to me, I don't understand anything. Inside, I'm like, yeah, because it's like, and it's not the same as a mind who doesn't understand. There's really nothing to figure out here, is there? You just are. I am, you are, same, same. That's what all this talking and all this inquiry and all this meditation is about. I'm just here. We finally can just be here.
Yeah. And it's true. It's true. Thank you.
So I'm really happy if you don't understand anything or get anything out of this satsang. That's success to me.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for sharing this because I'm sure it's, everyone can get something from it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Caro. We'll finish with Caro.
Hola, Helen.
Hola.
Vale.
Hi,
Bueno,
Helen.
quería compartir mi práctica, yo creo que en esta última semana, como la comprensión que he tenido.
I wanted to share my practice, the understanding I've reached this week.
Por ejemplo, si yo abro mis ojos, veo un mundo, veo cosas que interactúan frente a mis ojos,
If I open my eyes, I can see a world and things that are interacting before my eyes.
pero cuando yo cierro mis ojos, veo que todo lo que he visto con los ojos estoy creando como dentro de mi mente un mundo
But when I close my eyes, I can notice that what I've seen with my eyes Inside, I've created a story about them, a world about them, a world.
y que yo solamente observo toda esa creación
And that I'm only observing that creation.
y que puedo ver que lo único que hay aquí es espacio
And I can see that the only thing that's here is space
y pensamientos jugando entre ellos.
and thoughts playing with each other.
Y cuando yo veo esto y vienen las creencias,
And when I see this
miedos,
and beliefs come and fears,
nuevamente veo que son solo pensamientos
and I can see that they're only thoughts.
y que en realidad cuando sigo mirando detenidamente,
And then when I see purposely at this,
no hay nada más que espacio y no hay absolutamente nada que mantener.
there's just space and there's nothing to maintain.
Entonces, yo ahora, porque estoy disfrutando la meditación así muchísimo, o sea, cada que puedo, tengo 2 minutos, me voy ahí, o sea, me quedo ahí, o sea, sé que no tengo que tener los ojos cerrados, perdón.
I'm enjoying meditation a lot, and every time I can, even if it's a couple of minutes, I choose meditation.
Y yo me pregunto si estoy viendo esto, necesito, es como si el cuerpo no me pidiera ir a la, o sea, sé que, perdona, cuando yo estoy ahí,
When
veo que en
I'm
realidad
there,
no hay nada que son pensamientos,
I can see
todo.
that they're just thoughts, all of it.
Necesito hacer contemplación o meditación o simplemente
I,
continuar siendo y observando
do I need
todo.
to do meditation or contemplation, or do I just continue to observe everything?
When you observe everything, does it feel like you're watching something or watching nothing? So when you look at the world or even the room that you're sitting in, if you experience other people, other things, does it have that same feeling of nothingness inside, just space? Probably sometimes yes, sometimes no, right? Sometimes I can see that that isn't what I think it is. It's just stories about consciousness appearing as a person or an emotion. And sometimes you might seem to still get lost in it.
Yo soy lenta,
I am
pero
slow,
profunda.
but deep.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Susan?
I am slow, but deep.
Entonces, en un primer momento,
So
puedo
in the
entrar en
first
la
moment,
película,
I can go into the picture,
pero cuando me detengo
but when I stop
y
and see,
veo que no hay nada.
I see that there's nothing.
Pero eso lleva retraso. No,
Right. But it's
perdón.
slow. It's not immediate.
So, inquiry and meditation, if they're beginning to become a joy, a real deep joy, then would you even want to stop?
No, no, o sea, igual me expliqué mal.
I explain myself poorly.
Yo no quiero parar la meditación,
I don't want
pero,
to stop meditation,
pero estoy completamente fascinada con la meditación.
I'm completely fascinated with meditation.
Y cuando esto está pasando,
And when this is happening,
es como si el mismo silencio o
it's like the
la
silence
nada
or the nothing
estuviera haciendo como esos momentos de ver.
is making those moments of seeing.
Entonces mi pregunta es, como tenemos varias preguntas de autoindagación, ¿dónde estoy?
So since there's many questions about to do self-inquiry, where am I?
O cuando también siento una creencia limitante,
Or when I have a limiting belief,
puedo simplemente detenerme y observar
can
o
I
es,
stop and observe, or is it better
o es mejor ir directamente y hacer la contemplación o simplemente observar y quedarme ahí.
to go directly to contemplation or observe and stay there?
Can you choose whether to observe or contemplate? You said, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm going to meditation more and more often throughout the day, even 2 minutes when I can. Is that true, or is it just happening more and more spontaneously by itself? Because the consciousness is just so enjoying recognizing itself again and again and again, and seeing its own emptiness, and seeing that forms are empty really also. Because here we can make a very subtle sense of a person again. Do I observe this or go to inquiry or contemplation or meditation? Right? Can you even choose this? Can you decide like this?
Creo que hay una forma muy sutil de separación.
Mhm.
I think that there's a subtle way of separation.
I think my Spanish is getting better.
Yeah.
Um, the mind has 100 ways like this, right? Just to kind of, it pretends to be very spiritual. Should I keep observing, or should I, do some contemplation? And that's a good question earlier on in our path. But now for you, you throw it away, right? If contemplation needs to happen, it will. If inquiry needs to happen, it will. And more, it will just happen for the joy of it. I love seeing, again, one more time, that I'm always free, right? And the mind will give you these things to see if you want to play with them in separation. And you can see them easier and easier each time. It just don't feel so good. Like I have to decide even whether to observe or. But you're always observing. That's all you can only do, isn't it?
Mm.
Awareness is just aware. Silence is just listening. Consciousness is just conscious. It's not self-inquiring. That's going on in the manifestation, actually, by itself, these practices. The mind doesn't like it because it can't take credit then for awakening. All this is just going to keep unfolding ever more sweetly for you. At first, when we start to do some practice, it feels like going up this hill, I've got to try and do 30 days. And then at some point we get to the top, it feels like, and then we start coming down and it feels effortless. It's just happening because it's true. I want to see what's true because it's true. I want to see what's real because it's real. Here it's like I want to get out of trouble. I want to, be able to pay my bills and all of that stuff. And of course, that's important and valid. But there's a point where it changes. Why we're doing inquiry changes, right? Or meditation. Can you feel it? Something you're just coming over this top here and just about to. Whee.
Por ejemplo, muchas gracias. Cuando estaba haciendo la autoindagación de dónde está el dinero,
When I was doing self-inquiry about where is the money,
es que llega, llegó, ha llegado un punto
I reached a point
donde no encuentro respuesta, donde ya no sé.
where I don't find an answer, where I don't know.
Mhm.
Y si quisiera encontrar una respuesta, es como si tuviera que
And if I wanted to find an answer, it was as if
empezar a utilizar los sentidos, la mente, la inteligencia,
I would have to use the senses, the mind, the intelligence,
porque, porque lo veo y
because
no lo veo, es como todo,
because
y
I
lo
see
veo
it
en todo.
and I don't see it. It's like everything, and I see it in everything.
But you're realizing yourself to be that which is, uh, you're realizing yourself to be that in which the question and the answers are all appearing. For you, it doesn't matter if you have a profound realization or there's confusion. So what you really are is just formless, empty consciousness, and you're starting to really live like that. And there's just a letting go now of any sense of anywhere that we still feel we're doing something, even a subtle doing like choosing, deciding whether to do meditation or uh, contemplation or just observe. And that's coming from just a very subtle sense of a doer, an imaginary person. So you can look at that and say, that's it's not my, I don't need to decide that. I can't decide that. Can you prove any spiritual practice that's happened for you? Can you prove you made it happen? I can't prove any practice that has ever been done by this body and mind has ever actually been started by me, decided by me, as much as my mind wanted to say it did. I've done lots of practice and I've finally arrived at freedom. It's more like I recognized I was always free, and the practice is just going on to clear out all of the other stuff, the doer and the separation. And here's a very subtle place it hides this sense of separation. Wonderful.
Muchas gracias.
You really cannot mess this up. None of us can, which is very good news. Thank you so much, Caro. Wonderful. Thank you, Susan, for your translation. And also thank you, Pilar and Olga, as always. So it's a wonderful a place to leave it for today. And I don't know about you, but I've thoroughly enjoyed not understanding anything and not getting anywhere. And I hope that you have at least begun to relax into that a little more. And maybe satsang is for something different than we thought originally. Maybe it's just we can literally just show up and be here together. And what if that is actually enough? As we were saying, if any self-inquiry or meditation or contemplation needs to happen, it will. And we can't get this wrong. Our awakening is inevitable, cannot be stopped because there is no separate person to get in the way of it. If there was a someone that had to move towards awakening, then could be something in that process that went wrong. But if you're already freedom recognizing itself, it's a very different thing. So very, very good news indeed. Thank you so much. Namaste.